As society continues to collapse, as anything that could be called community erodes, as accountability, responsibility is replaced by people just providing excuses. And now, for some reason, providing an excuse is all you need. And the world turns around, and instead of shaming you for providing a lame excuse, instead of being responsible, they prop you up. They're like, oh, look what this person went through. Everybody has a platform. Everybody has a platform to tell their sad story, even if it's a platform to talk about how terrible leaf blowing is, like this one. But as I was saying, as I see this trend increase, I'm realizing there's not going to be anywhere for me to move to escape to. Where I live right now, I suspect, is one of the extremes, one of the worst places. But I'm seeing leaf blowing start to occur in places that it didn't used to take place. And I am seeing a lack of community in those areas, even places that I used to live, like a neighborhood in San Francisco I used to live in and I loved. Never once in over a decade of living in that neighborhood did I hear a leaf blower. Cable car, yeah. Leaf blower, never. Now there are leaf blowers there. My hypothesis on this is that it, again, is a place filled with renters or investment people that have bought real estate as a part of an investment and are simply renting it to the highest bidder, people that never really were a part of that community other than moving in for an opportunity, whatever business brought them into town. They didn't move there because that was the place for them. They moved there because that's where the business opportunity that they are pursuing brought them. And the people that were a part of that community have cashed in their chips. They have left. It's interesting. That's actually kind of the opposite of where I live right now. Back there in San Francisco, these neighborhoods are being overrun with non-San Franciscans that have moved in to make their money, to make their quick fortune during this ongoing tech boom. And I was driven out, and I now live here surrounded by people who don't really want to be here. Like, where I was desirable, and that's why the prices are so high. The people that live here just because they can afford to live here. And when that's the reason that you live somewhere, that's not going to create a real sense of pride in your community, is it? That's not going to go for everyone, obviously. But for the most part, if you live here, you only live here because you can't afford to live somewhere else. What's this have to do with community? What's this have to do with accountability? What's this have to do with respecting each other? If you were a real community, you would not subject the person next to you to the mind-boggling noise of a leaf blower. It's just the most outrageous. Not only is it loud, but the actual tone, the actual sound itself is like it was invented in a lab by evil people. And it's not even being done by the people that live there. These are investment properties or an HOA or something like that. And there's a contract that covers a certain area. So someone pulls up in their pickup and gets out with their smelly gas powered machines and blasts the shit out of the neighborhood for a while. And then people have the nerve to turn around and talk about a sense of community. If you were a true community, you would not be allowing this. If you were a true community, maybe somebody would go and sweep their neighbor's front yard, their sidewalk, their driveway, if leaves are that much of a problem. Because the day after that contractor leaves, the leaves are back. So are the leaves really a problem? Or is this just something that makes you feel like you're doing your part or you're participating in something that has been deemed a community effort? No. You just put a piece of your paycheck into something without really thinking about it. And every single time that a paycheck takes care of something taking place in your community instead of you taking care of something in your community, then you've lost some community. If I were to move into a nice neighborhood, I would be the guy that says, I'll sweep every single one of your driveways. if we as a neighborhood can agree that we're better than that fucking noise pollution, because it is just absurd noise, crazy noise. If that noise were somehow solving world hunger, I would still have to question its worth. But it's not doing that. It's moving dust and leaves around that still end up having to be picked up by other means at the end of all of that noise. Or you could just leave the dust and the leaves on the ground where nature intended them to be. But no, we always know better than nature, don't we? Stupid ass Mother Nature. Now, the most recent extreme example where I'm currently living are people's fences that blew over in a little storm we had about a week ago. It's over a week ago now. And those fences are still down. Well, does that look nice? I mean, a fence that has fallen down and is crushing the plants that were planted there for aesthetic reasons, that doesn't look nice. Some fences are partially blocking sidewalks. 8 days later and counting, still there. And what's interesting to me in particular is I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that even considered what the plants are going through. People just leave these fences laying on top of these shrubs that have been crushed. They just don't give a shit. I doubt if they're even thinking about that at all. And the other thing they're not thinking about is knocking on the door and offering help. Because maybe the reason the fence is still laying down after a week is because it's a little old lady who can't do anything about it. These people don't know each other. When I first moved here, somebody's fence fell down, and I tried to knock on the door to offer to help, and I heard the person moving around inside, and they wouldn't answer the door. And likewise, right where I lived, I tried to have like some little community get-togethers, some neighborly drinks in the courtyard type of thing. No. They looked at me like I was fucking insane. That fence example, by the way, from when I first moved here, that stayed down for over a month. Hey, I would film it weekly just to provide evidence to myself that I wasn't crazy. I was like, come on, nobody leaves their fence laying on the ground for a month. And yet the leaf blowers came by every single week. So these lies about community, come on. These people drive out of their garages in the morning and drive back into their garages. And the only thing that changes is the sound of their miserable prisoners barking inside when they hear the car come home, still hoping a little bit that maybe today's the day that they'll get to see the outside of the house. But no, for the most part, that day never comes for the dogs here. And for some reason, everyone has one. Everyone. There's no longer dog people. Everyone has one. And everyone has a little concrete slab that they call a yard that needs to be leaf blown. And the only thing that takes place on that concrete slab is grilling 2 to 3 times a year, leaf blowing, and imprisonment of animals that are forced to live with their own fecal matter. Quite the community. I'm not kidding. I've been filming this so I can look at all the dates. How do people in this community keep walking by yards where someone's backsliding door is completely exposed to anyone going by on the sidewalk and don't say, hey, would you like some help? Or if the person that lives there is in fact capable of lifting it and isn't doing it, or fixing it themselves and isn't doing it, well, what the hell does that tell you? I mean, they are so disconnected from their own home, their own property, that this is something they can't bother to deal with because they're too busy earning money to pay the contracts to fulfill the actual act of being a part of a community. I mean, when you put it like that, when I put it like that, you realize how disconnected these people are. And then you consider that they own other living creatures, and those living creatures are subjected to whatever treatment comes with being owned by someone who's that disconnected. It really hurts me inside, quite frankly. This place is nothing but leaf blowers and barking dogs. and muffler people, muffler morons. Quite the community.